Do you have PCOS, and not only do you want to get pregnant, but do you also want to feel healthy? If that's you, then welcome to the PCOS Fertility Health Podcast. Hi, I'm Dr. Angela Potter, an integrative PCOS fertility specialist, and I'm here to share with you the tools that you need to help your body get prepped for baby. Let's go. It's your PCOS fertility expert here, Dr. Angela Potter, and I am super excited that you are here today because I am going to help you understand your PCOS diagnosis in plain language. So you are going to walk away from today's episode with some crystal clarity on that diagnosis. And before we get into that, I want to acknowledge you for showing up here today. You are taking the time to listen to this episode. There are millions of podcast episodes out there, but you are choosing to flood your brain with information about your PCOS and about propelling your fertility forward because you are a yes person. You are not going to take no for an answer. You are committed to your health and to your fertility. And so that is why you are investing your time into listening to this episode. I want to read some words that somebody shared about their time working with me. Here they are. Where to begin? I have been on what feels like a long fertility journey, 6 years as of now. I did everything wrong at the beginning. I wish I knew then what I know now. And thankfully, Dr. Potter was able to provide crucial guidance that supports not only my fertility, but my overall health. Although I still have a long road ahead because of my special circumstances, I am feeling more hopeful than ever. Going through the PCOS program with Dr. Potter also helped address symptoms related to Hashimoto's and endometriosis. My cycles finally got to what a normal length of cycle needs to be. I wish I would have found Dr. Potter sooner. Dr. Potter has a wealth of knowledge and she pairs it with so much kindness and compassion. Thank you, Dr. Potter, for your diligence in helping us seek answers and providing an open and kind listening environment. Thank you so much for sharing those words. You know who you are. She wanted to share those anonymously, and so I will send out an anonymous thank you. So we're going to talk about the diagnosis of PCOS today. So let's, set the stage a little bit. You've been trying to get pregnant for a year and nothing's happening. So you go into your doctor. She asks you some questions, and 15 minutes later, you are out the door being told that you have PCOS and just eat better. Here's a prescription and a pamphlet about PCOS, and you're ushered out the door. And there you are outside that doctor's office door. It's not mine. And you're saying, what in the world just happened? Okay, so I've got PCOS. I guess that's good that I know what's happening, but I don't even know what PCOS is. How did she diagnose me? And just your head is swirling. It's confusing and overwhelming. Now, here's the thing. Your doctor, to no fault of their own, doesn't have the bandwidth to educate you on all these aspects of your health and your PCOS. Okay? The typical fertility clinic is set up in such a way that those doctors are seeing patients every 10, 15 minutes. They might have 4 or 5 different patients in rooms and they're just going from room to room. They don't have time to do that education for you and to really talk you through this diagnosis. You share that you want to get pregnant, so they are diagnosing and then following the fertility algorithm, which is to give you fertility medications, and then you're out the door. Okay, let's talk about a time when somebody is coming in to meet with me to talk about their PCOS diagnosis. And through this, I'm going to describe how the PCOS diagnosis is made. This person comes in and, I have a fully virtual practice now, so we're always meeting online. So I'm meeting this person over a secure video call, and I'm going to start by asking them, and you can even put yourself in this person's shoes, okay, how you would feel if a doctor were talking to you in this way and providing this kind of information to you. So they show up to our video call, and I'm going to ask them some questions about their cycles. And this person tells me, well, I've been trying to get pregnant for the past year and a half. I got off birth control 2 years ago, and ever since then, my cycles have been really irregular. But, my husband and I, we figured that if we weren't using any contraception, then it would just happen. But now here we are, it's been 2 years, and I want to know what's happening. So then I'm going to ask some follow-up questions about their cycle. Okay, how long is the cycle? Is it always the same amount of days from one cycle to the next? Or is it all over the place? Do you only have one period, one bleed per year? So those are some important questions that I'm going to ask. Then I'm going to ask about different signs that are happening in this person's body. And interestingly, the next thing I'm going to ask about is skin, which surprises a lot of people because they think, well, we're talking about my fertility, right? Like my lady parts. But actually, other parts of your body are going to give you very strong indicators into PCOS, particularly your skin. And that's because these androgen hormones like testosterone, you may have heard of this hormone, it's elevated with PCOS. Well, for most people with PCOS. We'll get to that in a minute. And that creates signs and symptoms on the skin. So I'm going to be asking, well, do you have acne? Do you have unwanted hair growth anywhere on your body, particularly on your chin or your back or your upper thighs or lower belly? Does that happen? And all these questions are helping me in the diagnosis of PCOS. And then I'm going to ask about mid-cycle changes. Do you get any signs mid-cycle, like an increase in cervical mucus or a change in body temperature if you're charting your body temperatures? Do you see any changes? Do you get any spotting? Do you get any breast tenderness? Anything like that mid-cycle? And so if this person tells me, well, my cycles are about every 3 months, every 90 days, I'm not getting any mid-cycle changes. I've never seen an increase in cervical mucus. I do have a lot of acne. It gets worse before my period starts. I have to tweeze my chin hair every few days. Otherwise, it looks like I have a beard. Those are all going to be pointing me in the direction that would say, yeah, sounds like PCOS is in your picture. Now, many doctors will just stop there and they will diagnose you based off of signs and symptoms in the body. Other doctors need lab information and want to see lab information. I am in that camp. I want to see labs because that sets you up for understanding these concrete numbers and where we need to go from there. So I am taking that information that person shared with me about their signs and symptoms, and then I'll order labs. Now, I order a really comprehensive set of labs for people who want to improve their fertility. But when we are talking specifically about the PCOS diagnosis, I am going to look at androgen hormones like testosterone and DHEA, and I want to look at progesterone levels, and I want to look at a pelvic ultrasound. So when I have all of that information together, then I can say this person is diagnosed with PCOS. And what I'm doing from the medical side to create that diagnosis is I am looking at 3 pieces of criteria. I am looking at ovulation issues. I am looking at testosterone levels, those androgen hormones, and I am looking at cysts on the ovaries. If that person that's talking to me has 2 out of those 3 pieces of criteria, then I can say, yes, you're diagnosed with PCOS. Some doctors, like I was saying, do that without running labs because you can do that. You can identify ovulation issues. And then if you're having those really strong testosterone symptoms like acne and lots of unwanted hair growth, then that puts you into the 2 out of 3 pieces of criteria for the PCOS diagnosis. You cannot really identify ovarian cysts based off of signs and symptoms. It's really important to have a pelvic ultrasound to see if that is part of your diagnosis. There's one lab marker that some doctors use to look for ovarian cysts, but in reality, those are all just very vague markers, and you want to have a pelvic ultrasound to see, do you have cysts on the ovaries? So let's sum this up. For a PCOS diagnosis, I am going to use a mix of what signs and symptoms are going on in your body, mixed with lab results, to look at 3 specific pieces of criteria. So I am looking at, does this person have ovulation issues? Do they have irregular cycles or really long cycles, or have they not had a cycle in years? That's going to show me ovulation issues. Do they have elevated androgen hormones like testosterone? Do they have acne? Do they have unwanted hair growth? Are we seeing that on labs? We see those literal numbers and they're elevated. And third, I'm going to see, does this person have cysts on their ovaries? And the number one way to look at that is through a pelvic ultrasound. And if this person that I'm talking to has 2 out of 3 of those pieces, then they are diagnosed with PCOS. It is possible to get regular periods and to ovulate on your own when you have PCOS. I see this all the time in my practice, and women with PCOS are getting pregnant every single day. And you could very well be next. Hold on to that as you go forward today. If you want to support this podcast, you can leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or simply share this episode with your friends. And as a reminder, the information on this podcast is just that. It's information, and it should not replace the medical advice that you are currently getting from your doctor. Thanks so much for being here.